Oh, go live. Oh, yeah. Okay. Sorry. I'm back at the screen now. Okay. Yes. Here we go. Now we are live.
Oh, cool.
Live
What-
TFT.
What was it that you said in Tingler? Streaming, beaming. What was it just now? It was awesome.
I remember when I
Giggle
said live
so
streaming,
much.
gaming, live streaming.
Oh,
Okay, I got the notification too. Well, here we are. What's our thing about? Today's October. What is our thing that we say? On this day, Monday, October 2nd, 2023, we're coming together as the Thinky Feely Tank.
yay.
Yay, yay, yay. Okay, cool. Shall we go through the agenda?
Yeah,
Okay, shall we do highs and lows?
yeah. / life lessons. Yeah.
Yes, life lessons. Yes. / life lessons. Yes.
Live lessons. Oh, okay.
I can share. I think I have a life lesson.
Yeah.
I can share. So Entangler. I'm gonna change my name right now. Entangler. And my high and low. Well, my high is I with the help, and this is kind of wrapping into my life lesson, like with the help of friends, namely Dan and Jarrett, I finished the reviewing of those applicants for that grant. It was like pretty hardcore. Like the day before I had like 56 to do. I don't even know how I did it. It was like painful, but it's done. And then now I have I'm applying for associate professor at Otis, and it's due tonight at 11:59 p.m. I did everything except for student work samples, and I realized that's like my kind of like my area that I can improve on, because I'm very bad at like collecting documentation of like student work. And so I'm like, so I just like another kind of thing due, and then I have like a series of other things. Then I'm supposed to make something for a show by the 11th, and I'm like, ugh, I don't even know what to make. And then I'm supposed to do a course review, that's a course description. So now I'm like, oh, I think I want to teach like a sex kink class as a seminar, but then I'm like, I don't really know what it's going to be about, and have to do that course. They need a course description like ASAP. Anyways, my life lesson is that I like cannot function without the help, or like I can't get, it seems that I cannot get these things done with the help of friends, namely Dan. And so like kind of really appreciative of that, or like grateful, but and I mean it's like a mixed feelings. Yeah. But I do like the I don't know, like this idea of like that I'm not doing things solo, or like that it's like a group, like that it's okay for me to need help. I think there's maybe limits on it, and then like yeah, like I don't know, like something about accepting that, and then like also like giving back, not like a tit for tat or trade necessarily, but that like the relationships that I have that kind of in it or something. It's like helping each other, because like Dan is really bad at doing things like admin stuff, and I'm really good at that, and so I can help them with that. So it's like, I don't know, it's just been kind of a nice, like hard, but also this like feeling really grateful that I have like really amazing people in my life who will help me out of big binds like this. Who wants to go next? Everyone ready?
I guess my high for the week was on Saturday. This musician named Kamau did a sound bath in a sort of event space on Highland Avenue, and I went with one of my partners, and it was like he he does sort of vocal looping and does really interesting stuff with his voice. At least in this environment, he does. Like it seems like he also does more straightforward rap or something. In addition to that, based on his Instagram, which I've never seen before. But it was a really good ritual. Like it was like a impeccably held ritual, I think. So it was like, I knew one person there, and then it was like 20, 25 other strangers. And by the end, he had us like all like arm in arm, like shoulder to shoulder, like in a big, like really sincere group hug. And he was saying stuff that had other people crying in its insightfulness. And for me, I was like, yes, that's correct. Like just about the interconnectedness of life and all this, and how perfect we all are just for existing. Which is very much my ministry as well. But it was really well held, and then at the end, like we started hugging each other individually and just like saying like I love you to strangers, and it was really beautiful. Had to be the high for the week. Low for the I don't know that I have any life lessons to share that are coming to mind, but so low wise, I got a job offer and it's awkward timing. So like I want a second job offer from another place, and like the one place really wants me to answer now, and I'm like telling them like I'll answer you next week, and like the way that I felt to know that I had two options was like so different than the way that I felt when I thought I only had one option. That like I'm definitely listening to my signals in a really good way, but like bringing my self awareness and my self respect into the working world isn't always welcome. Maybe that's the life lesson, but I'm being guided by it, so I'm happy about that. I'm proud about that.
I've been very kind of confused or uncertain about my feelings and experiences this weekend. And there's a lesson or something in it somewhere. I mean, that's just I'm kind of can be kind of obsessive about making sense of things. But I think the significant pieces of my week this past week were playing lots of board games. Finally, I've been knowing that I've needed games and play like that. I've been really missing it for months now, and this is a weekend of playing a lot with either friends, siblings online, or my roommate here. And I've also known that I'm kind of lonely in terms of having lonely in terms of connection, external connection, feeling abundant. And yesterday, both times that I like left my house to go to events or things that were happening downtown or around town, within like minutes of me deciding to leave or of me leaving, I'd cross paths with somebody that I'd never seen before, and we'd feel very comfortable with each other immediately, and then just ended up spending several hours together. And then I was worn out and came back home and took a nap, woke up, went back out because there was music happening downtown, and the same thing happened again. And and it felt both like nice in the ways that just connecting with somebody can feel nice, and also like and also like lingering like sadness or longing there too, because they're just strangers. Yeah. And so I'm coming in with like a bit of just being like, what the hecky, what? That's my share. What do y'all think of doing kind of having activity around this question and then doing updates and announcements after that? We can also, oh, I see Entangler's frozen. Oh no, Entangler's very frozen.
Yeah, they're looking pretty frozen.
You're looking pretty frozen there, Entangler. Actually, oh, okay, they'll come back. It also feels fine. There's also comfort in following the agenda too.
But you're feeling that you wanted to happen sooner.
I think I was mostly feeling uncomfortable about transition from from Sherry's into that, which is kind of dissipating as we speak. Yeah.
Welcome back.
Made it. I made it back. I don't know what happened. It switched over. I missed the second part of your share.
Oh.
Okay. Oh, and updates announcements. Should we go to updates and announcements?
Let's do it. Yeah.
Okay. So I haven't heard back from Gradient yet. I think I need to reach out to her about the payment to tinyhealth through Open Collective. But I'll do that. I'll text her and ask her what's up with that and figure out how to do that. And then I heard back from Andra. So Andra wants to visit and so I didn't have time to connect with her for today, but maybe it's better she comes during a rev school day and it's not recorded and like or live streamed. So I'm gonna see if she can come next Monday, and then we can talk to her about like all the microbe stuff that she knows and get hopefully some suggestions or advice. And then okay, so then the KCHUNG radio show is supposed to premiere not this Sunday, but the Sunday after. So it'll be before our next Thinky Tank. And if everything goes well, I think Radio wants to do the same thing, which we invite people from Thinky Tank to come and like it's gonna fucking happen this time. We're gonna make it happen. So that's gonna be there on the 15th. So we'll send an email out about that. And Orión, do you want to give us an update on the Ripple tank?
Well, sure. Where's the screen share button on here now? Oh, there. It's still green. These are almost 2 weeks old now. I haven't done a whole lot recently. Although here's a nice video of the motor running. Oh yeah,
good job, buddy.
Oh yeah, slow motion so you can see how they the stupid controls in the way again. Oh, how the two things move. Whatever. Let's see. This was the general setup with. How was I doing this? There we go. There's some ripples. So I think I have figured out why these ripples are so sort of dim and hard to see, and it's because I'm using a focused light. I think I'm like my next round is going to be. So there's two from opposite sides coming together. They're pretty subtle. but they're pretty. And I just have this color sort of. This is a previously existing light program that I had, and this is actually using droppers instead of the Ripple machine. After all of this work to get the Ripple machine working, like it's like, oh, the ripples are still just so fast and frenetic, and like if I just have an eyedropper and drop one at a time, it's actually much much prettier. But I think it's also related to the way that the light is projecting. So, oh yeah, these ones are pretty nice too. That's using the machine, I think.
You know how sometimes it looks like it's making a nice circle or an oval, and then sometimes it like,
yeah,
the edges are kind of like more blurred. What's making that shape?
Let's see if I can figure an example of when it's a nice circle. Like it's essentially where the source of the ripple is. But it's also I don't know if I have like these. Is that a nice enough circle?
Oh, right there.
Yeah.
That's one eyedropper drop at a time from different sides. And then I guess I'm not sure if this is actually a Ripple machine or just my fingers tapping on the edges of the tank at this point, but I think it's probably a machine. That's one. Let's see, what else did I get? Pretty much the same deal.
And that's what's projected?
Yeah, so this is like, do I have a picture? Let me actually stop for a moment. Oh, actually, there's a picture right there. Sure. So this is actually, so I have the light over here. This is a big, like a silver tray with a bunch of water in it, and then the Ripple machine set into it. There's also a mirror here, so the light is actually bouncing off of the mirror and then hitting the wall here. There's another view of it. So that's how that's happening. And yeah, and I think if I go from if I move from the focus light to just a bare LED in a point, and then figure out a way to just sort of mask around the edges of that I suspect that's going to have a better shadow, just because that's what people tend to use. Like the focus light was another thing that I invested a lot of energy in and then found was superfluous. But yeah, it's I showed the water drop photography drippers before, and it's starting to feel like if I'm not doing a live performance where I'm dropping with eyedroppers, which I kind of like, I think has its place, but not necessarily what I want to do. If I'm not doing that, then I probably do want to have some solenoids that I program. And then actually I'm going to go back here, back to the screen that I didn't mean to share with you. And share my messages, because there are a couple of videos in there of another. So this is back to using the tank of water, light overhead, and then an angled mirror under here. And like that, this thing in the light is just the light not being perfectly focused, but I don't mind. Oh, that's already over. Just look at the video. That's not a video. But that's still loading. Different shapes in there, dude.
It looks so beautiful in a dark room.
Yeah, totally.
So that's where I am this week. Except for this video. Video's not loading. And then of course I found that, oh, actually there are two other artists I wanted to talk about that I found on Instagram. Just because they're doing interesting stuff. And am I going to be able to remember the other one? Let's see. So I posted a link to this in the Revolution School meeting last week, but this is like a very successful, like I had been sort of picturing something like this where, you know, you're
Oh,
sitting down and going into the space, and this is cymatics, like with the thing with the speaker, rather than drops or anything, but it's reflecting onto as these beautiful, like very shiny.
whoa. That pattern is made from the sound? Whoa.
Yeah. Giant water covered speakers, they call them here. So the people out there doing this. This guy, like I scrolled back in this guy's Instagram all the way to the beginning, and it seems like he does a lot of water fountains as well, which is neat. But interesting progression, interesting stuff.
Yeah.
Some also some like private installations of some pretty patterns.
Wow.
Who's the other guy? I'm gonna have to. I found a person in New York who teaches a class in making art with light, basically. And like it doesn't teach, he does like a little. Oh, we lost J Moon. Oh, no, you're back. You were blank for a second. Like just yeah, using light as a medium, and he's done his workshop in a number of places. And one I kind of, if I can find it, I was thinking about a possible thing we could be doing at a TFT3 in person, where we have a workshop like that.
Ooh.
Because it'd be an interesting thing to do. I'll try to find it, and if I find it, I'll bring it back up. But
Okay.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
that's all I got.
Nice.
Are there particular thoughts or feels attached to it right now for you?
To the ripple tank.
Yeah.
It's it's this, as getting a full-time job comes closer. Like I see it taking away mind share from the stuff I'm trying to make, and that's something I'm trying to remedy. And like this week, like I'm waiting for an interview next Monday now this week, and so like I need to reclaim the next week of time that I have to do anything I want. Like there is something about the elegance of the Lachlan Chorgzan stuff that is like, like without a mechanical thing, like with just the light and a vibration, like that it's sort of like it's stripped down and pure in a way that I really like. But I think I also still appreciate the like mechanistic like I think, like I said, I wanted to make this out of trash at some point, and like the idea of like not having a thing that is shiny and beautiful but is like also demonstrating the thing. And yeah, also like I have also, my mind has wandered a little bit to the razor blade with a laser on it, and like showing the diffraction there, and how like wondering what it would take to demonstrate that in real space for people. So I'm a little curious about that, and as I have little experience now with focusing light, I have new ideas about how that could be successful. But little lots of momentum in the last 2 weeks, but I did a demo on Friday or Saturday night, and it was it was joyful. So I'm still enjoying it.
It's like a demonstration of diffraction, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah. I kind of like you with the eyedropper, but I know that's like that's like bringing in a whole other thing, but it was kind of, there's something about that I liked.
I think if I can get better control over the eyedroppers, like I'm even like using two different like sizes of drops in two different hands right now because the two bottles I could find. So like, I do think that could be really, really cool. And even like, yeah, like the performative storytelling thing. I'm not opposed to.
Performative storytelling, but yes.
Yeah, definitely trying to tell a story at some point.
Love it. Oh my gosh, you're gonna start working soon, maybe.
Yeah. By November 1st, I'll probably be doing something. And then you'll see what an asshole I am when I have a job.
Smile.
Damn. Jobs. Well, okay. Well, I think that's it for the updates. David.
One thing I want to just, I'm going to be on an airplane on next Monday. So if that's when Andra comes, that's good. And I won't be able to join, but I'll enjoy hearing what comes of it.
Do you want to wait until the week after?
It's hard to say. Like it's hard to say.
Yeah. I think the reason why I ask is I think Andra's like really good at talking, like talking through, like she knows a lot. She's really smart and like she's really good at talking through things and stuff like that. So I'm also hoping that we can like also it's not just like her telling us stuff, but also us like, having a conversation and like maybe working things out together or facilitating style. But I'm not sure if that's really going to happen. That's just how I imagine it.
Yeah, and Tingler, I'm curious what you noted, like a leaning you had for the conversation not to be recorded.
I was just wondering. It's just that I would have to tell Andra that it is live streamed, and I'm not sure how she would feel about that. But if she's like down for it to be live streamed and recorded, I mean, we record the Revolution School too. It's just not live stream, so I would just have to tell her and see if it's okay.
Okay, and that's something. As it was. I don't know if maybe it was even before you mentioned that. I was like reminding myself that this live stream was a choice that we made and can also be we can continue making choices from here. I don't know, it's nice. I'm gonna carry that in my head when we go into kind of reflection time of just remembering that like this current form is not how it needs to look too.
Yeah, I mean, meaning that we don't have to record, we don't have to live stream it. Like, totally.
So I think where I'm at is like like whatever the way that we factor in availability and decisions, where it's like, oh, David won't be able to be there next week, and so if another week works well, then great. And if there are certain ways that next week is particularly like lining up or practical, then that's good too, Yeah. Group activity, the three of us.
Yes. I think Charlotte would have been here, but she emailed me having like some issues. Like her mom shut down the Wi-Fi and so I think she would have been here.
Shoot. Yeah. Okay. Shoot. Okay. Well, let's begin. This is gonna be there's some structure here that we don't normally have. We'll give it a try. So what we're just to remember what the kind of what we're wanting a little bit of the focus to be. why you're here and why we are here, and what our shared purpose or goals are with this Thinky Feely tank. And so we're going to start off and have questions just for individual, kind of like thinking, feeling, journaling, noting, whatever feels good. And then we're going to have some time. One thing we might do after that is like sharing out without it being conversation, just kind of like speaking and listening to one another, and then discussion. And so that's going to be kind of the structure, so y'all know what to expect. Do either of you want, is writing, is noting things helpful for you? And if so, do you have paper and writing or some way to type or whatever is good for you nearby?
Let me grab a pen.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write on my computer,
Awesome.
Google Doc that I have open.
Okay. So I'm going to read a bit. Remember back to early moments with Thinky Feely Tank. This could be when TFT was just an idea. It can be when we were first tuning into TFT 1 or 2. It could be when you first came into this smaller continued TFT space that we're in right now. And think back to those early moments and early experiences with Thinky Feely Tank. Thinking back. What do you remember from those early moments? What's standing out in your memory? Remember certain people? Those early moments with Thinky Feely Tank, and it's different for all of us. We remember certain people, certain moments, like when you first came into the Zoom, when you first played the recording or entered the conversation. We're just going to have a bit of time right now being with these memories, however much it's just in memories or jotting down, noting things that come to mind. Early experiences of Thinky Feely Tank. What you remember, what stands out. Certain people, certain moments. I'm gonna have my watch run for 5 minutes and just touch base then, so y'all have a feel for how long we'll be like this. I'm gonna just read out a bit again. Thinking back to your early experiences of Thinky Feely Tank, what do you remember? What's standing out in your memory? Do you remember certain people? Do you remember certain moments, such as when you first came into the Zoom, entered the conversation? Are there specifics that you remember, and also general feelings or impressions that you remember too? How are y'all with time? Would some more time remembering through this be good, or feeling kind of complete?
I'm feeling complete.
I think I'm also, yeah, just gonna finish this one last thing.
Okay. Okay. So we're gonna have another individual reflection thing, but this is to remember kind of what's attracted you to Thinky Feely Tank throughout the time from then to now and into the future. And so for me, I'm going to draw a timeline where I'm drawing a timeline with like TFT1. This is now, I might have stuff that's just not even on the timeline at all, but just for me spending time with this, I'm just going to note like kind of where and when in the meantime I remember feeling attracted and drawn to and excited, or any of those sensations towards Thinky Feely Tank. What was some of the content of that, or the reason for that? What was kind of going on?
And this is
So
through the, oh,
yeah, no, go ahead.
is this through the entire trajectory, or like from the beginning leading up to TFT to now?
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay.
Mm-hmm. And just like whatever, whenever it would, whether your memories throughout then are kind of scattered throughout that, or end up concentrated at certain moments, or all more recently. Noting moments along the way when you chose to engage in Thinky Feely Tank and what was attracting you. I'm also noting like if there are different qualities to my like draw, or like complexities to like maybe in certain ways me feeling excited to tune into the upcoming meeting, and in certain ways feeling a bit unmotivated, or something that was more of a repelling feeling.
Mhm. Mhm.
I keep on writing. I haven't. Where are y'all at? We can wrap this part up sooner. And it is towards the just now I've been kind of writing out like, okay, broader than specific moments, what did I notice like feeling particularly attracted or excited about like leading up to TFT1 and following that, and then there've kind of been different waves of different things that have more so brought me here since then. Have we had the time that feels good for both of y'all on this though? Or would some more minutes? Thumbs up from Orión.
You're done too, Orión? Or
Yeah.
think.
But in Tingler, you feeling like a little more time? We'll have some more time. Another minute or two.
Yeah, maybe another minute.
Yeah.
I'm just
Okay.
gonna finish something. Then
Okay. Okay, so I feel drawn to kind of loosening up the structure and just being in conversation mode like more normal at this point moving forward with there, especially with there being three of us. And so I'm gonna just type into the chat again this bigger and broader question that we kind of left last Thinky Feely Tank with. Why are you here and why are we here? What is our shared purpose or goal? None of the reflections that we were doing didn't dig specifically at like kind of writing out or articulating what right now for each of us or each of you is the purpose or why you're here. As I'm saying this, maybe it'd be nice to have some time writing that out, or we could also that stuff could just kind of emerge through us talking. Do y'all lean one way or the other? You feel a need for more like time with yourself or coming back together?
I'm so curious what everyone wrote.
Yeah, I'm also happy to like share out a bit.
I'm ready to share. Ready for sharing.
Yeah. I'm gonna talk through the like at first I was just like I remember before TFT1 being really just excited and attracted to just like what like curious and interested and stimulated by the idea of Bay and by the possibility of having people to talk about this sort of thing with, like just knowing that I'm excited for like learning and engaging in this, and then after that feeling attracted to conversations about trauma and the ways that tech can and can't address like trauma stuff. That was some of the early stuff for me, and then more recently, like learning from the Barad source, I was really drawn to learning like coming together, being a chance to engage in this like big beefy text that I've known about for years and never quite ventured into.
Yeah, similarly, I was drawn to the intersection of Barad's quantum philosophy and trauma and somatics. And always the AI piece has been the least interesting for me. Like I never wanted to make I don't want to make the Bay as construed. I got the sense that the the conceptual technologies that we were working with were worth combining anyway, and towards those insights. When I watched, I didn't make it to TFT1, and then when I watched the video, I was so I think hearing when that wave of skepticism came from the panelists, it was like, okay, great, yeah, now we can start to sort of unpack what are the essential things here, and what's the important part. I think that's about the scope of the answer that you had, David. So I'm gonna.
Yeah, I was like, I just answered and it was like such like small little direct things that you don't have to follow that model. And then I was feeling very self-conscious about the model of my of my sharing.
Are we responding to your first question?
Yeah.
About early moments? Or are you combining both of them?
Not specifically. I was combining both of them.
Uh-huh. I can share, but mine is like I kind of split them up. Is that okay?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna read what I wrote. So like early TFT moments, like so much excitement, so excited. And then like lots of PR. I just remember like lots of PR leading up to it, which was like really time consuming. It was the first time I ever like made a push, like I ever like PR'd a project, because I was so excited about it. And I was like, everyone needs to. I made a whole list, and most of my time was doing this PR, and I thought that was like interesting. I was like, wow, I really like really excited about this project. I want everyone to come. And then also feeling like a lot of stress, and like it was the first time I felt like I was gonna fail, and like a little bit feeling alone in it. But that's like, there's many reasons for that. And then I remember before the start of TFT1, it was like River came in to like just check the stream, the Zoom, and like someone was there, I don't know who it was, and they're like, oh, I'm surprised to see you here. And then they said, well, Jennifer is hard to say no to. And I'm like, yeah, love that. I remember NChem being my bae, like intervening and slowing me down, which I appreciated, but also like it stimulated some feelings in people, including myself. A lot of it's like shame a little bit, but also like appreciated and grateful. And then like this idea of like this is like during the TFT. Is that okay? Like taking up, and then like taking up too much space, and that's like the thing which I've talked about here, and like cutting out gradients, contributions, and we talked about that. I really like what stood out with Pat, like Pat's emphasis on the conceptualization of experience is like kind of like one of our biggest kind of like, I don't know what to call it, like hurdles or like things that lock us maybe into modernity or something. I really love that because I felt like it's like I don't know. I felt like what is it, like almost like I got like, oh yeah, because the Bay is kind of about like getting like understanding our beliefs or how we conceptualize it, or like our belief entity. So I was like, yes. And then after TFT2, leading up to TFT2, I was like, okay, I'm gonna not take up so much space, like slow down, And then after TFT2, I thought they was dead. TFT1 was like a dream come true for me. Like I still think it's amazing. I was really excited to see how many people attended TFT1. I remember David specifically, because during my nervousness, I would look at David because David always looked very smiley and like truly engaged. And when I was feeling nervous, I would always look at you and be like, okay, everything's okay.
Oh.
So those are some things leading up to it. Well, I actually have a lot to share. Is that okay? Okay, and then I made this my internet kind of puttered out again. I couldn't use my Google Docs, and then I made this like,
Oh no.
this graph of like the like I was inspired by your kind of thing. And so so this is the second question about like the timeline when I chose to engage in TFT and what attracted me, and knowing different qualities to my draw and noting repelling feelings. So one thing that I wrote, like I noticed that I get like really excited when we like generate new connections, like with the materials that were like when we did the close reading of Broad chapter, like David, when you made that connection about like the feelings being marks on bodies, and that is the thing that gets us into fine detail. I was like, yeah, I don't know, like something about like having us engage the text and then making a connection that's like, and I'm like, yeah. So that's like, I love that. I also love Orión, your projects and you sharing it with us. And that is like, and like, it's so like exciting and inspiring. And I love that. I also get excited, like David, you facilitating, I get very excited about that. I think some things that I get nervous about is like, like facilitating too much, being too like in the leadership role and like not knowing how to negotiate that, and like actually really wanting not to be, but then getting scared about like, oh, if I don't do this, then it won't happen, like, and like wanting structure, but then not like, I get confused about like wanting structure, but then being like, I don't want to be too structured. But I think I get discouraged, or like not repelled, but like discouraged when it feels like we're not getting anywhere. But then I start being like, why do we need to get anywhere? So like, and I think that there is a part of me that wants wants a structured TFT, like, like this is our principles, this is the thing, and then we can like run, and we become like a diffraction apparatus that we run things through. Yeah.
Is it cool for me to echo some of that and whatnot? I remember specifically Orión, like maybe the first or second time into you developing the idea of the cards. Maybe it was the second time with the cards and the first time with the Rubik's Cube, and me being so like one of the moments of me being very excited and drawn to the space was whenever those like some of the possibilities of those cards related to some like really interesting work that I was doing in therapy around like binaries related to our physical experience of the world. And I was just like eating it up. And it was one thing that was really exciting is me being able to explore that in whatever direction and know that and being excited that, oh, I can explore this and develop this in ways that are pretty like that are contributions coming from the specific coming from the unique way that what's on my mind is interacting with what we are all looking at together. And there was like a particular like sense of like value and possibility of contribution in that. That was exciting to me. Oh, and Tangler, you said something else. Oh, what you were saying about like structure, and like that's been like all like so. I get so tangled up in like, oh, things could be this way or things could not be this way, and that's some of the in some of my like some of the most tumultuous mental emotional experiences of my life is that I really and so and so there are times where being in this space with y'all kind of pokes at that and just I also I want to come back around after seeing if we're kind of, I don't know, come back around to that question of like, I kind of like structure too, you know? And I also continue telling myself like, oh, but it doesn't have to have structure and that can be okay too. But if there is like, but there can be relief for me in like us in and trying something, but then it brings up like it brings up fears around like, am I skilled enough to show up and meet whatever structure we have with the potential of the structure, right? Can I carry that structure too, or will I kind of fail at that? Is a fear around that. Mm-hmm.
Can I ask you a question?
Mm-hmm.
What does failing at the structure look like?
It's like if we say this is how things are going to be, or a phrase like that came into my mind just now was like the like fake it till you make it thing, and how that's tricky for me. It's probably tricky for a lot of people. But it's this fear that like after having determined like certain practices or ethics or structure to like a regular agenda structure, something after something having been established, a few weeks into it or a few months into it, coming around to like, oh, this is actually, I'm having trouble being myself in this, or this isn't quite feeling like it's it's generative, or like I can really be like it's doing what we were intending for it to do. And so maybe it's also the fear of like that same sort of like existential, like everything is possible, scary feeling, where then it like things feel there's then like less potential structures to less potential things to be hopeful about, because the thing that I was hopeful about didn't work.
You know what I was thinking? Or how would I imagine the failure? Somehow I imagined it to be like you or whoever is experiencing the failure being like upset or something, like mad or like not, like not mad or like somehow not like either
Mhm.
discouraged or upset or like frustrated. And then I think I get like tripped up on that or something, like I worry about that. This is something that came up when I was writing. Yeah. And I was like, oh shit, I'm like not just, it's not just like the structure, having a structure is then like worrying about if then people are gonna get upset and then or frustrated or discouraged or not, doesn't feel like it's working anymore. And then not having the space or not feeling like they can say something or something about it to change
Mm.
it. But that's how I imagine like the failure to be. It's more like an emotional internal kind of like I don't like this, but not being able to say it or something.
Uh-huh. No, that's true to me. That's true to me. Because wait, so it's like imagining somebody in the midst of our Zoom thing, in the midst of our Thinky Feely Tank, David's feeling like frustrated about whatever we've agreed to as a structure, but David isn't, for whatever reason, doesn't have the way to uh to bring that anger into this, to bring it up, leaves this, and then we hang up and then we
Yeah.
go and I'm just moving about my day kind of like angry and discouraged.
Yeah.
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 Or like you'll leave and then never come back and then be like, "What?"
Uh-huh.
I'm also thinking about like Samuel. Remember Samuel? And
Uh-huh.
like they were like frustrated, but then they expressed it and I like appreciated that they expressed it. I mean, they ended up leaving anyways, but I was like, oh, at least they said the thing um that they were feeling or something. Yeah. I get worried about that. And with myself too, because I don't want to disturb the thing or whatever, or like, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm hoping that like it would like TFT, because I'm imagining like TFT would be like a place where we would get very frustrated, and especially if we grapple or like run a really hard project or something through our diffraction apparatus, and all of us with our differing kind of lived experiences and perspectives and ways of methodologies, that we would come into conflict. And that hopefully that's part of it too, like the Donna Haraway staying with the trouble, and like how do we make a space where we can get like that with each other.
Mm.
Or not get like, but be, but
Mhm.
like a space where we can feel safe enough to be honest.
Mhm.
On the failing at structure bit, like there definitely comes a time in many of our meetings where it's like, well, I guess we're not going to get to the reading this time either. And often, and like, and it's again, and also on the in the saying something, it's like, by the time I noticed, we're like 35 minutes into this thing, and like it doesn't feel like it's necessarily going anywhere, but it also feels too late to salvage it. Like it's too late to say, like, to sort of cut. In fact, this is the kind of thing where I think when I have a job, I might be more of an asshole, which is just to say someone who's like actually driving for an outcome, where I might, like, I can take the persona of the person saying, like, okay, but we're trying to, our goal is this. Let me remind you, the goal is this. How does this get us to our goal? That kind of thing. And I think that's a positive behavior on the whole. But in my current evolution, I'm like fine to just let whatever happens wash past me. But I think in those moments, I do have a little bit of the spirit of Samuel in me, of just like respect, like, okay, 45 minutes on this topic now. If it's just one item in the agenda, like, will we how are we going to get there? How are we going to get to like whatever we're trying to figure out? And what are we trying to figure out?
What are we trying to figure out? Is this going into the goals? Why are we here? What are our goals?
Oh yeah. Yeah, were there particular, is there, yeah, do you have anything you want to kind of share or yeah, I'm cool. That sounds good. I'm getting scared about like how to talk about why we're here and what our goals are. I'm scared. I'm scared of talking about it because it feels hard to define. And so I don't think that's because it is hard to define. Entangler, could you say a little bit more or just start a conversation about it?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, one of my goals, which has shifted actually since TFT, and then having been in this group, and it's shifting from Bay centered to just TFT. I still do want to make a Bay. But now that it's like Thinky Feely Tank, which I also really love. I love the kind of expanded idea. But I would love for us to like go through the TFTs and like come up with like do the work that we were supposed to do in TFT 1 and 2, which is like the ethics in TFT 1. So like going through TFT 1, do a close read of that, and then make a document or something, some kind of document of the ethics from that, and then go through TFT 2, which is supposed to be the hows, right? But I think it kind of became a little bit something else, which I also really like too. I mean, I would love to like revisit what like Alice was saying about time and like all, a lot of the things that were brought up in that, which is, I don't know, maybe it could be a how, maybe actually through that there's like a different methodology that we can come up with that is not so tied to like scientific method or like it seemed like a lot of stuff, some of the stuff that was happening in that TFT2 is like bringing in these other less like more like this either like the spirit world or things like time and ancestor, like all that stuff. I would love to figure out how that could be part of our methodology somehow or something. And then like once we have that, like really applying it to the projects that come through the TFT.
Yeah, it's like I think it's occurring to me that how we're like often creating more material without reviewing the material that we have, which is like one of my like most depressing tendencies is like which like the cards to the cube to the cube in WebGL to like it's like I've never got into the depth, never went into the depth to figure out the card system, and never went into the depth to figure out the cube system. Like I don't feel bad about it, but it's like it's just it's like the untappedness of all these potential things, and maybe and yeah, maybe that could be, and the same thing with all the TFTs. Like I'm eager to revisit TFT1 and TFT2. And yeah, and like, you know, start to assemble something that is a scaffolding we can build on and start to see what emerges.
And hopefully leading to an actual TFT3, like something.
Yeah, right.
I realized that why I'm here personally is it does come back to Bay stuff, like or like Bay when I Bay is one suggested technology that we can develop in order to be working through trauma in a way that works for me. It's a technology that I can carry in my life, and that I can have it as a tool to share with others too, to work through my shit, and that like and what had been kind of the core of excitement around projects that you brought in, Orión, was that these were interpretations of what a bay could be, these could be technologies or tools that help work through the shit, and are just different ways of having conversations with myself, or with the world around me, or with spirit. And I think whenever I feel this, and that I don't come in with this with the excitement and motivation, with Thinky Feely Tank that isn't still grappling with those technologies, and I don't know if that seems like a not a betrayal, but like trying to call back to something that we've moved past, or is I don't know, but that's one of the that when that came to mind, I was like, oh, that's a way for me to keep on like being motivated to be here, is by engaging in the sort of what reasons, or the sorts of technologies or sorts of projects that are doing the thing that Bay is doing to me, which is technologies or tools for working through our shit, and doing it well personally, or doing it well with myself, and doing it well with a group of people too. Those are both like, so I don't know, I just have a lot of motivation for that, engaging with that.
Me too. I love hearing that.
Does it? I mean, is it what's been stopping us from returning back to the TFTs like we've been wanting to? I don't know if I hope I don't know if that comes, if that's an inappropriate use of we or a fitting use of we. I'm suspecting, I'm thinking that I'm using it thinking that it's a fitting use of we. Like what would shift or change to allow for us to return to that stuff like we want to?
One thing with Orión, when you were talking about like how we're like, oh, again, we're not doing the reading again. I was like, the first thing that came to mind was, oh damn, the updates and announcements are too long. Like, are the updates and announcements necessary? I was like, maybe not. I don't know. Like, that could be definitely shortened, I think. I feel like sometimes I use that as like a regulate, like, okay, I have things to just relay. I'm just gonna relay the things, but maybe that's not necessary. And then also thinking about, I also did like in the revolution agendas, we put times, and I for some reason in these agendas I didn't put time. I was thinking about that when I wrote up this one. I was like, should I put times in there? And then I was like, maybe we're not doing times. But maybe that would help too, if it's like, and then we adhere to like the time.
Worth a shot. I mean,
I'm noting this stuff in the agenda doc. Just sorry, Orión, I interrupted.
I also think shifting the modality of the updates, yeah, like even it's including Ripple Tank updates, where like I take up the same amount of time whether I have anything new or not or something. But I mean, I think the encouragement and momentum I've gotten from sharing that stuff is definitely a part of why I keep coming and why I keep working on those things. But also like have, engaging with the TFT stuff would also give me more fuel to bring into those projects, I think. Like I think, even back to what's, where I didn't get into the depth in the divination systems is, I think bringing them into conversation with the stuff we've talked about in the TFTs is something that I wanted for sure, and we haven't taken the space for it.
Do you think to do that it like we have to do go through the TFTs first and then pull the stuff and then think about, for example, like the divination cube with what we kind of I keep saying pulled, and I don't really want to use that word, but like what we learned, I guess, what we learned and what we kind of compiled as the ethics, and then use that as like a diffracted apparatus for like the divination deck, for example, or the cube.
Yeah, I think that is what I think. Yeah.
Orión, when you were talking about like being in job mode and and like just that being within the topic of like how our conversations wander, or how our conversations are directed. I think there are changes and shifts in how like I engage pretty passively in the meandering of our conversations. Like I think I've been engaging I've been engaging from a place that's like, oh, it's best for our conversations to just wander how they wander. And that can be shifted. And like I'm attracted to, or I'm it's kind of enticing to like think of like I guess I was thinking about how my questions in this reflection, like excited was a big word that I used a lot. And in our conversations, our meandering conversations, they are so like, it's like sometimes for me, I engage or I let that happen, or I participate because where they're wandering through is exciting or attractive or kind of like stimulating. But that doesn't like excitement doesn't have to be the kind of guiding feeling. There are other really, especially particularly like, I don't know if there's a kind of I don't know. I don't want to, I'm weary of losing like the freedom magic of being able to go wherever. But I don't think that's necessarily what I want. Like, I don't think I necessarily want to like I think it might feel really good to be in a kind of different mode than that, as on the regular here, because I've also experienced like the unmotivatedness of what y'all have described as like I don't know if y'all actually said this. For me, like when things feel kind of aimless or disconnected from what I know that I'm interested in. That like being in a community, working through projects that can help us with the stuff that they helps us with.
I was like, when you're talking, David, I was like, damn, if we can figure out some way to be able to do both, like we would like
Yeah.
come up with the thing, whatever that thing is, because it's like I keep always thinking about the broad stick thing about like how it's like we can either examine it or use it, and I feel like that, yeah, like so we're either like using the TFT to get to a goal, or we're like meandering in it, like being in it, maybe it's an examining of ourselves, or I don't know what that is, but it's like so hard, like that whatever that binary is, that seems very materially like real somehow, like how to work with that, how to make like a TFT that can attend to both somehow. I don't know how, but I feel like that would solve, you know, I'm using these words like solve and like get the thing, but also it would be fucking amazing. I mean, it would like totally like do the thing that everyone wants to do or something. I don't know. It's like being stuck in that thing, in that, you know, like wanting this thing, but then also being like, oh, but I can also accept this thing, in that space of being like, I want this thing, but it's also created this way. It's like a space that I don't know how to really describe, or like work through, or
I feel like we're spending more time studying the stick than studying the thing we want to study with the stick. And yeah, and there's something about like in this period where I've had freedom to do what I choose, like the periods of focus on the actual creation part, like have been like, it can be quite intense and can be quite like, it's like it's free in the sense that like there's nothing else pulling at for me to do, but like it's also a compulsion. Like it's I think that like the compulsion of purpose and vision is something that I think, you know, we're trying to establish, like what is our shared purpose and vision to be compelled by, which I think like then like can bring us together in these sessions with the energy and momentum of like, yes, we are free to talk about anything, and like we all want to use that freedom to talk about this thing towards this end. Like and like we're all fine with ordering Tiny Health, so let's move on.
right. Okay, I don't know why that's okay. Yeah.
Did that hit kind of sad or something in Tingler?
Oh, I was like, oh damn, I'm like lagging on that. I was like, and then I was like, and then I had this thought of it, like, oh wait, how much of this is on me? Like, how much of this is like waiting on me? And then yeah, I get tripped up on stuff like that too.
My experience hasn't been one of a lack of initiative or moving things forward on your part in Tingler. Like what I feel like I engage with is the question of like, what is our shared purpose vision? Like what is it that it feels, what I engage with when I engage with the trickiness is like our shared coming togetherness way of doing that.
Does that mean we're gonna do the TFTs?
I'd love to. Yeah.
Did someone have someone, I can't remember who it was it David, you, who had an idea of how to do the close reads?
Yeah, I remember bringing up an idea a few TFTs ago, which was just like how we discuss it, like just that the idea that I had was that we come in with specific like chunks of it, like several minutes, and we then all engage with it together as we're together now, and then we talk about it and engage with it together, just with different chunks that each of us bring in.
I love that. I'm gonna look at the video. Oh shit, I just like shifted to like, now we're doing a task. Is that
Great?
Is that okay? Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna, so these are the different, I'm just gonna, I got my internet back. Yay. So this is how the video look. I have to share my screen. So this is the video, and then I made chapters here. So I'm wondering if we can like maybe determine now like what we're gonna review and bring in next meeting? Is that something like that?
I have an idea. It's not, I don't know, that it of the two chapters that are just Thinky, Feely, Tank with Incan, Pat, and River, like the ones at 232:59, it wouldn't it all give us a complete, like it wouldn't it all be a complete thorough read, and maybe would just be the first step, like just for next week, or but that engaging with those would feel like engaging with some of the stuff that we've been putting off engaging, or have yet to, that I've been waiting to engage in with y'all, or like to return to. And it seems like it wouldn't be, I don't know, I that could feel satisfying.
I'd be down with that. Orión, what do you think? Because you kind of recently watched it. Did you rewatched it?
Yeah, I've been revisiting it. I didn't actually get all the way through it, so I think actually that's a. Let me actually find my. How far did I get? Oh yeah, I got to hour 3, so I have notes from, or like good bits, a good chunk of stuff from that section. Yeah, I agree. That's like more than half of my notes are from that point on. So
So this section is a little over an hour, like almost an hour and a half. Right? Is that right?
Yeah. And then I don't remember what happens after the break, if it's just kind of picking back up.
It does pick up, but it kind of like slows down a little, after the break.
Okay.
I think this is the more like, yeah, like the, because like up until now I'm looking at like, well, all this was just like, yeah, like anyways. But yeah, this is, I think we're,
I guess there's stuff earlier that I want to engage with too. That would be that'd feel like we're like stuff is missing from our reading of this. And also just like in the content that you were sharing in Tangler, like that would be nice to bring up and talk about months later again with y'all. I'd enjoy that too.
yeah. That sounds good. So you're saying like starting here, then we can kind of like go back and yeah.
Does that feel good to y'all?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want to talk about how we're like is there any more in terms of how we do the reading of it that's helpful to establish now, or it could be that we come into the meeting to next TFT and conversation wouldn't be super structured, but that's okay too.
This is a good question, because whenever I do seminars or like, like talk about text, I never know how to do it. Like, I'm like, do people just go through the text? Like what we did with Barad, we just went through every page, and then, but I think other people who run seminars, close reading of some text don't do it that way. It's like more like, yeah, people bring in stuff and it's kind of like talk everywhere. I'm curious. Yeah, I'm curious how you two have done, like what you prefer.
I don't have a lot of experience to point to. I do like the idea of having done the reading beforehand, having reviewed, having brought, like bringing things that we're each interested in talking about. but I don't know what the drawbacks of that are.
I think I mean, I don't know if it's a drawback. It's more like my OCD or something, like trying to be thorough, like make sure you get everything and then don't have to
Me
visit
too.
it ever again or something,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
just like one pass and get everything. I mean, that's my impetus for wanting to do like the like page by page or da 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 da. But I'm also fine with that and like trusting that like it'll all get covered, especially if there's multiple of us like doing, because we'll each catch different things, and I trust that too.
I want to share for a moment just to show. Oh, we're at time. This transcript button here is really great for
Oh,
Oh, sweet.
you can search for words in it, and you can scroll very quickly to whatever timestamp you are looking at. So that I think that'll help.
yeah. How did you get to the transcripts? What button do you push?
This one next to the closed caption.
Oh, I see. Oh yeah, amazing. Because this is a different, because I something happened and I didn't get the Zoom transcript for like a while in the beginning. So this one is generated that Vimeo generates, right?
I think so. Yeah, it must be. Yeah.
Sweet.
That's amazing.
Okay,
I mean,
well,
when I can tell you, like when I went through, I mean, this is like a little bit off subject what you just shared, but like how I did it when I went through it to do the recap in TFT2.
Uh-huh.
I like my notes are, I'll rewatch it again, but my notes are kind of organized in like themes that I like noticed from all three. That's how I organize my notes.
For all three.
Oh, like I noticed like, oh, they like NChem talks about systems and like, and then like Pat talks about interrelation, and then Rod talks about intra-relation. So they all like or have a thing about like, yeah, wanting to us focusing on like interlocking systems or like a systems type of way of thinking and approaching this. Like stuff like that. And then forget the other things, but I noticed like these, I think there were three main themes that I noticed through all three of them we're talking about in different ways.
Sure.
And so my notes are kind of organized that way.
And that could even be we could even talk through those different themes in our discussion of it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So for next week or for next week, we'll engage in that hour and a half or so. That first big chunk at 2:30 of and we'll talk about it.
Yeah, and that'll be our kind of our only thing, right? So that we can do it.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. I have no strong bodily nose, so yeah, let's do it for me. There's all sorts of stuff going on in my mind, but whatever.
Oh, okay. I'm so curious.
No, it's good. It's good. Cool.
Thank you for facilitating that, David. That was like super like helpful. That was like really like, I think it's like was really something that we needed, or I felt like I was like, oh damn, this is so on point, or like this is exactly what I want to be like journaling about or writing about or like thinking and feeling about, or like the questions that you asked us.
Thing.
Really good.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll send it for the Andra stuff. I'll let you all know because you're both on the. Yeah, I'll just let everyone know. And I think you feel like taking at least in case people want to come, if it's going to be next week or the week after.
Okay.
Yay.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.
I'm gonna stop the stream. Okay. And goodbye.
Bye.